Hey, well, good evening, everyone. Good evening, soldiers. We've got Scott. We've got Gail over here.
Hey.
Gail from Australia. And thanks for joining us tonight, or this morning if you're in Australia, or I think it's around midnight right now. Looking at the wrong camera when I'm talking. I forgot I've got a different camera here. But yeah, it's a different time because Gail is in Australia. I'm in the United States, so it is 6 o'clock for me. And what time is it for you?
10:30 in the morning on Saturday.
Oh, thanks for giving your time on a Saturday morning for Phantasma.
No worries.
I was you had mentioned to me earlier this week, and you said, "Yeah, I'm going out Friday night with some old high school friends." And I thought, "Oh boy, if she's anything like me and goes out with some high school friends, I don't know if I'd want to be on camera Saturday morning." Do you have a good time though, at least?
Yeah, the voice is all right.
Yeah, that's good. It's I get out there and some screaming and dancing and laughing.
Yeah, lots of that.
Yeah, it is. This is an interesting soldier story because I hadn't met Gail until a week ago, but I'd heard a lot of different things about Gail, and there's certain commonalities among soldiers that we are uncovering in these soldier stories, and I think that's a lot of fun. This is taking shape of its own, and when I started to learn about Gail and was asking Bill and we said Gail would be the perfect person to bring on, which you're undercutting yourself. She says, I don't know what I have to offer, and I remember reading a book and I love this book, and everybody's got $1 million story, and once I had the opportunity to learn about Gail, I said this is gold. This is fantastic. We want to be able to get her on the air and share some of her story. And I'm glad that you've given us the time, and we want to learn a little bit about what got you interested in Phantasma. But let's go back even a little bit further, because I think you've got some real good value, and share a little bit about what you started on your own 6 years ago, and I think that would be a good lead-in, perhaps.
Yeah. All right. Oh, the cat's just about to go crazy again. Just over 6 years ago, I was working in retail, but my dad was diagnosed with mesothelioma, and it was quite a toxic environment towards the end with my work. So, no brainer, I decided to quit and become his full-time carer, and of course mesothelioma is not pleasant, so he unfortunately fortunately didn't suffer, but yeah, it didn't last long, so it left me in a position to think about what I really wanted out of life. I don't want to work for someone else where I'm not going to be valued. So decided to look into changing hobbies into something I can turn into a business. So, yeah, just kind of went down that road and went for it. And, 6 years later, I've got my little online business, doing what I enjoy doing, being creative and making things. So that's kind of where it started.
I was inspired by that, and you were telling me that you sell paraphernalia of sorts, whether it's a mouse pad, and and taking your passion of photography, and you were really evoking within me that feeling of when you're passionate about work, it's not work.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you tend to produce a really good product about that. And we definitely see those similarities with the passion within Phantasma and some of our developers. It gives me goosebumps to talk about that quality. But that's, you have that inside you as well. And 6 years ago, and pardon my French when I say this, but you had, the guts to, I was going to say something, but I probably shouldn't say it on the air. A good line from Boiler Room, if anybody's ever seen that movie. But it's... you had the guts to go out on your own as an entrepreneur, and you thought, my little business. Well, I asked you, what do you do? Like, are you sourcing all of this? So you're the photographer, you do some graphic work, and then you get it on these things. You said, no, I got hot presses. I mean, tell me a little bit about this equipment that you have, because that's pretty big. I mean, You got some
Yeah,
good equipment.
it's well, as my kids have gotten older and they're now, well, I'm almost an empty nester, so I've got a lot more space in the house. I keep getting more equipment. So, because I run the business from home, but I've got a vacuum heat press, a flatbed heat press, a couple of sublimation printers, the laser printer for running off invoices and bits and pieces, and then morphed into vinyl cutters for doing the decals and other craft projects. So it's starting to take over a little bit. But yeah, I do everything from the product photography when it goes up on like Etsy or my website, or and it's a lot. And I guess in the last couple of years, I've probably scaled back a little, as I've discovered crypto and gone down that rabbit hole. It's balancing the both of them. So but yeah, I do everything like a one-woman show. That's it. I don't outsource anything. And yeah, I'm very particular. So when people get if they order a custom phone case or mouse, but yeah, it won't leave here unless I'm 100% happy with it. So generally, probably 99.9% of my reviews have been, top notch. So because, I'm not going to sell something to someone that I wouldn't be happy with. So
right.
Yeah.
I love it, and I love it, and I think that that's something that's important. And I taught entrepreneurs for the last decade, and I've had several different online students. And there's a few things. I'd mentioned this to you earlier, that when somebody was buying my product, I figured 9 out of 10 people would just put that on the shelf and collect dust and not actually take the action. And starting a business is tough. At least here in the United States, I don't know about Australia, but 9 out of 10 businesses ultimately fail in the first five years. It's tough, but there's certain commonalities of entrepreneurs that they could replicate some of their activities and achieve success multiple times. It's not an element of chance. And so, somebody such as yourself that has gotten past that threshold of 5 years, gosh, like you've got to say, all right, there's something very, very unique and very, very driven. And we were talking and said, boy, it dawned on me. And I said, you know what? That's the same thing that's inside crypto investors today. That we are a unique bunch in the crypto world. It is not for everybody today, and everybody that's in it today there's something inside of our fire that we are willing to take additional risks, which entrepreneurs are truly able to take that. And you've got to have the passion, because it's not you can't just come into crypto and get out. Those are very far and few between stories that they get the Lamborghini out of it. And I said, boy, this is great if we're going to be able to explore some of the elements that drive you as an entrepreneurial. And then the third one, woman. You've been a woman your entire life, so it's not a big deal. But I said, is this something that we can talk about? Women in crypto. And you said, oh yeah, we can, because it's almost every industry. Boy, that's a good point. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, and having a daughter as well who's in her 20s, I hope things do change. I mean, they are slowly changing. I was also fortunate enough to have a very strong female figure in my mother. She, my folks emigrated from England in the 60s to Australia, and she was already a fully fledged draftswoman, which back then was quite unusual. So, but when they came to Australia, she had to be a drafting assistant, because they didn't have women in those roles. And so so she back in the growing up in the 70s, she was at work full time. And that so my grandmother used to look at whereas all my other friends, their mums were stay-at-home mums, because that's generally what how things were back then. So I had that role model. And yet my daughter's actually, she's trying to push through that glass ceiling too. She's actually doing a chemistry PhD, and in her colleagues in her lab are mainly women. So it's starting. But so we've got a way to go, but that's, like I said, I'll go with the flow, and pretty much that's kind of, yeah, that's life, unfortunately, for a lot of women. But yeah, there's some very strong women out there, which I guess if a man in business or crypto is strong and opinionated, they're good, they're manly, they're a big, authoritative, whereas a woman comes across, oh, she's a bitch. It's quite often, so yeah, but hopefully in another decade or two it might level out a bit more. Yeah. So yeah, it's been interesting to see the change over the years. So yeah.
And this year is a really unique year, especially with all the movements worldwide. I think Black Lives Matter is for an example of a movement that was global here in America. It's and it's really, woken a lot of people up to certain perspectives and, certain conversations that are important. But there's the other side of that too. That, one of the very first keywords I ever ranked on Google, which I no longer have that blog, but was we all make the same face on the shitter.
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, and it comes down to what makes us a human being, our feelings and our emotions. And that just ties right back to what brings me to Phantasma. And that's my passion, you know. And so maybe this would be a good time to maybe start talking about your passion and where I've learned about it. But before we do that, I got my hands on a couple of pictures, and so I threw together a 24-second video. Let's show that off a little bit, and show some of what you've done for the last 6 years as an entrepreneur, and then I know you've got a couple of goodies to show us, and then we'll move to passion. So we'll be right back. Oh, that's fun. So you made these things.
I do.
And these are the things that you're making with all that equipment that you have in the back and all the different spots of the house that the kids no longer can live in.
Pretty much. So
oh, that's some of the, so awesome.
Yeah. And what else have I got? These were just made for Bill and in fun. The little mankinis. And they just... Oops. I'll get one off. There we go. Oh, go out to the camera. So, yeah. So I sent a heap over to Bill, and I think he stuck them on everything. Yeah.
You saw it. That was his computer in the video, I believe.
No, that was mine, actually.
Oh, that was yours. Computer. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I figure I had to test them. And and then there's the... But these are all just a bit of fun. And sent them to Bill, and I think he gives them to his little fella, and he sticks them on everything, and So, yeah.
Well, that's, so you sell this stuff, you find, obviously, friends and family, and then, word of mouth is inevitably the best form of marketing, but... that other channel is online. So strangers find you online, and you had just said to me, "Oh, I would go get some tea." And you're like, "I got 3 sales." Well, no, you weren't excited. I got 3 sales, and I was the one. Oh my God, you just got 3 sales right now. Yeah. What a cool business, eh?
Yeah.
Like, work at home.
Go to bed and you wake up and. Not so much these days, like with, because there's barely any international postage going around at the moment. But I used to sell a lot of custom cases and things on Etsy, and probably 70% of my customers were from the US. So I'd wake up to, to all these notifications from US sales and from Europe. But now it's just the Aussies that can buy from me. So that's it. Yeah. The only issue with the whole COVID thing is, postage out of Australia takes, months and months and months now. So it's just not viable. So, yeah.
Did you know
But,
I have a sister that lives? I did mention that. Yeah,
you
Melbourne.
did, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and yeah, that was always a thing,
Container.
for Christmas gifts. Even outside of COVID, it was a good 6 weeks if you
Mm,
took the boat.
yeah,
Otherwise, you're paying a huge buck.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I guess they got a bit of a monopoly on Australia Post has down here on
Yeah.
because we're so far away from everywhere. So yeah, but
So we'll go back another 3 years. You're a few years
yes.
into your new business, and then we're trying to find the passion and the entrepreneurial spirit and how that translated into this crypto world. How did you find out about crypto, and tell us about that path a little bit?
Okay, so that was in 2017. My son was actually doing his year 12, which is the final year at high school here. And he kept chatting away about Bitcoin. Like this is probably from early to mid. I should have listened, but because I was still, building the business. But yeah, he check out Bitcoin. It's hit blah blah blah, and it's hit this, and finally in I think it was like the early October. I thought, oh, all right. I just, I think I sat down with a coffee. I thought I was Google it. And I was, Alice down the rabbit hole. I sort of got in and got myself, the KYC on one of the Aussie exchanges here, CoinSpot, and dabbled a bit. A couple of dollars here and there, because I'd always wanted to sort of muck around with the stock market, but never quite got round to it. And this was ideal because it's 24/7. You can play with little bits and like everyone else in that sort of November, December, it didn't matter what you threw money at, it just everything went ballistic. So I sort of changed a few $100s into a few thousand. You go, okay, something in this, and of course then the market tanked, but I just sort of everything sort of came back down. Then I started to really look into just looking into different projects and sort of went from there.
Do you remember
Do
do you remember the day that you found
the day
Phantasma?
that
Do you remember that experience or how you found Phantasma? Or who told you about it?
We're frozen again, by the way.
Okay. We're still good on the live stream.
Oh, cool. I'd actually invested. I'm not going to name the token because it's not worthy of it. And because in Telegram, I'm always lurking in Telegram, and I only speak up if I've got something to say. I was in this particular tokens Telegram, and the shit was hitting the fan. The ex that scammed, but I'd seen the writing on the wall, so I'd actually I'd already sold out. So I took a loss, but still was okay. But I it was basically like bring the popcorn and read all the comments. And Philip was one of there was a couple of guys that sort of, and they came sort of shilling Phantasma, and I'd sort of I'd seen bits and pieces, but even his passion even then, it was enough for me to investigate it, and I like what I saw, and the rest is history, really. You start to, you don't even really need to dive that deep. It's obviously yes, do, but just the fact that it's an entire ecosystem and what the guys are doing, it's no brainer for me. So
that's back then.
Philip to thank for that.
Wow.
And another couple of blokes.
And it's like asking that story when you first find about Phantasma, more often than not, and people that have become passionate about it truly tend to remember that time. And I'm fortunate that I have a mentor locally here that introduced me to Phantasma, and I approached him because of his success in the stock trading marketplace. And introduced me to this project, and I was just having a conversation today, and it was giving me goosebumps because this technology that Phantasma has doesn't exist anywhere. It's essentially world's first, and especially with what we're going through right now, some of the frustration of the community is like, well, we wanted this to self-minting, but on the other hand, you've got our developers that are world-class developers, Sergio and Vincent, and they're vigorously testing this, and it's never been done, and they are working with people's money.
Exactly.
You can't jump the gun. That's why I can't be a programmer. I'm far too quick to release stuff, and I definitely learn from guys like Garth to slow down a little bit and take time to make it right rather than get it out.
And maybe I think I do notice the dynamics in the chat, like in Telegram, and I don't know whether it's that I'm got a bit more life experience, and that stuff doesn't always go to plan. Maybe some of the younger people haven't experienced that yet, so they're wanting, and I'm sounding old now, but the younger generation, everything's so instant for them, whereas we grew up with rotary phones and push button, to go out, stand up and push change the channel on the TV. So I guess we're used to the change and that things take time, whereas the younger ones are used to everything instantly, instant gratification. And so maybe there's something in that, which is why, you get the people complaining, rather than waiting till it's done properly and it's done right the first time because of the testing. So,
Yeah, the demographics within the crypto community are interesting. There's definitely elements within each target group that are similarities, but when we start talking about demographics or social graphics, it's a very very interesting. And
and I actually find with Phantasma, just from sort of listening and reading in on conversation, there's quite a few of us sort of just hit 50 and a couple a bit older. It seems generally it's sort of like the 30, 40, 50. It's a more mature group, perhaps. I could be wrong. But that's kind of the impression I take away from the conversations that people have in the chat. A lot more thoughtful. And not just, when Moon, when Lambo.
Well, we've seen it over and over and over, and I've heard this story over and over and over about the Phantasma community, and it's so simple. There's some really, really smart people, and they've peeled the layers back, and they understand the vision of this crypto project. They understand the vision of the company and the people behind it, and like a guy like Bill. He was one of the reasons why I invested in the project initially. I come from the corporate background. I've got a marketing degree and MBA, and I look at that man, and I can see how he's got a vision, and he's got the ability to bring people together and make them work, and that's what makes that type of leadership is what makes successful corporations. And then of course our developers and Sergio and Alex and Vincent, they're just phenomenal, the talent behind them and the awards they've won. So I think with Phantasma, and maybe we're tooting our own horn a little bit, and that's okay, but I think the collective intelligence of the community is higher than the collective intelligence than most projects out there. You don't have those Mooners and those Shillers, and we do have a good group of long-term holders because we truly believe in this project, truly believe in the tech behind it, and I've said it before, peel those layers away from that onion, man.
That's it.
The passion. So that's what happened to you. You were, we'll go back now to 2018. We're still finishing your story, and you started to peel this stuff back and took your business that you have online. And
I got in, I reckon it was just after mainnet. This happened to be the timing. So what was that, October last year, I think, maybe? about that. So I think, yeah, it was literally, I mean, that would have been one of the things Philip was sort of going and going, oh, mainnet's just launched. So I thought, oh, yeah, I'll check all this out. And yeah, I think I had a problem. It would have been swapping time. And I just, I'd seen Bill was admin and, flicked a message through for a bit of help. And it was, virtually instant. I mean, the fact we're both in Australia too probably helped. But it was really helpful, got it sorted. And then I just sort of went, oh, yeah, by the way, if I can, I dabble with, the vinyl decals. I'd be, happy to make some up. And, because I noticed that there was more Aussies in this as well. So I thought that's something I can make and sort of, shoot across to another state pretty easy. So, yeah. So that's kind of where so it was, bit of a joke, bit of tongue in cheek. I had some sample blue vinyl and, yeah, away I went.
Yeah, I'm a proud Canadian, but living in America, it's the truth. There's really not a lot of Americans in this project. It seems to be European and Australian, but we're going to change that. Yeah. Welcome America. This is a good one. And on that note, I was having this again, going back to a conversation and something I've been thinking about all afternoon, and I thought it was a really good point to bring up that. I don't know how many different crypto projects exist on exchanges out there, and there's dozens of new ones every day. It could be 6,000, it could be 8,000 crypto projects, right? 5, who knows? But it's in the thousands. And when you start to look at these, and if I were to ask how many projects have their own mainnet, and we don't talk about that, and you know how hard that information is to find out?
Yeah.
You know what the number really is? It's like 30 to 40.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
rest are on Ethereum.
That have their own mainnet and the capabilities for it. That just kind of that stopped me dead in my tracks. And holy shit, Phantasma. What are we? Number 400 on in terms of market size. I don't know what $5 million project.
Yeah.
And we're one of 40 that have the chain with some of the best. I mean. Yeah. And this is opinion of mine, of course, when I say the best, but do the research. I mean, you've done it.
Yeah.
Wow. Just that's something else. So let's ask you, with your research, you've been around the club for about a year and a half, I think it comes out to.
Yeah, maybe about.
You've shared what you like about it, and but where do you think you see Phantasma in a year from now? I mean, not price-wise, but perhaps adoption.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it would be fantastic to see adoption, to what these guys deliver. Once the community, the crypto community at large discover Phantasma, I think we're just, hiding in the shadows a bit, unfortunately. If they keep delivering what they've been, and they do, how do you say? Yeah, they under promise and over deliver every single time. So if they just keep doing that, then eventually the crypto world will catch up, and it's just going to be huge. Like to think so. Yeah.
Well, the stock market, crypto market, it's about patterns, and there's patterns replicate themselves. God, I could talk about patterns for an hour, probably a day, but even patterns in nature and leaves and all of this. But that's besides the point. And anyhow, on October 22nd, PayPal made an announcement, and they've got 147 million somewhere around their accounts, and Bitcoin was somewhere around 12 grand, and. PayPal's opened the market up to a whole new slew of token holders. Yeah. And then we've got Facebook Diem. They've rebranded it, from Libra to Diem, and it's supposed to be launched sometime in January or February. That's going to open up the marketplace to crypto to 2.7 billion Facebook users. There's 1.3 WhatsApp users, and then they've got Instagram. And these users are all one click away from owning Bitcoin. And, the patterns, like you were talking about 2017, all the money comes into Bitcoin, and people start to get educated, recognize other projects, and move the money to alts. And so if that pattern replicates itself over the next 2 to 3 months, we've hit the all-time high. That with what PayPal has done, what Facebook's going to do in the next month or two, people are going to look to pull their profits out of Bitcoin, in the next couple of months, people that are holding now, and that is what's hopefully going to drive the the alt season. And boy, Phantasma is positioned real well.
Yeah.
Who's really Bill?
Oh.
We're just going to answer Bill, and I should put him right on camera right now.
Okay.
Because now he's listening to me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there he says, oh, who are you talking to? You're live on Soldier Story, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
What the hell? I'm in the car.
He's in the car. Well, the informality of a Soldier Story, and your Saturday. Oh, there he is! Look we can put him on camera.
Hey.
There's Bill.
I just had to go deliver a bunch of things to Dad's house and back home and in front of the computer again.
Okay.
It's quite funny doing renovations at Dad's place. We're trying to get something done, and then Mum's asking 6 other things, and Dad's getting pissy, and he's like, I'm doing 2 things at once. I go, that's the problem, Dad. You're doing 3 things at once. You just need to focus on one. Anyway.
That's funny. If I was good, I'd somehow pipe you in properly, but I think we're going to have to say goodbye because I don't know if anybody else can hear you. I can hear you. But you're looking good there, dude. Looks like a nice day in Australia.
Yeah, it's 30 Celsius and, I don't know, almost 100 in your crazy whatever.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Fahrenheit. So, right, mate, we'll talk after.
Yep. Sounds good, dude. All right, bye.
Hey, mate. Bye.
I said, who's calling me on
That's
Skype?
cool.
I figured, what the heck? We'll bring, the informalities of this, and but at the other side of it, we're talking about passion here, and boy, I told you, I said my 2020. I told my buddy, I said, yeah, dude, like I'm working like 16 hours a day. He goes, what the fuck? Why would you do that? Are you, you were making this and doing that. And I said, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't get it. It's passionate. And so here's a dude, on his Saturday morning, just whatever. I wanted to call the chat and let's talk some stuff, my Friday night, your Saturday morning. And, there's been some changes in the last quarter from, getting our messaging out like that. We are so well positioned for this. That's where we were, the upcoming alt season.
Yeah. Yeah, get giddy thinking about it.
Yeah. So
try not to think about it too much, so yeah.
But yeah, you're looking, where this organization can be in a year. It's
yeah. And I mean, not just that, but the dApps that are, coming on board, everything from, you've got Blood Rune and, I've had a brain fade. Crusaders Dynasty as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
and,
Crusaders Dynasty.
And then Jimmy's Chain, the mobile one, which is probably, that's a bit more my speed. I don't do so well at the 22. Leave that to the son-in-law and son to play that. So,
well, you know what? We didn't explore this. You had mentioned that you had bought a gaming laptop, right?
Yeah.
Why'd you buy it?
Hey, well, for 22.
Yeah, for 22.
I bought the license back, when they first came out, and and bought some bits and pieces off Ghost Market. So, my work laptop. Well, I need to keep it for work, and I didn't have enough grunt, so I thought, why not? Yeah. It's part of the whole thing. I mean, invested in Phantasma, and it's just part of it, really. I mean, you've got to support the whole ecosystem, and so I did.
Yeah. Put
my money where my mouth was. Bought the game, bought a laptop to play it, and hook it up to the TV. Not that they get to come over very often with COVID, but when they do, we'll sit around and they watch me fall off tracks and they just zoom around. So yeah,
That's
fun.
wild. And that's
Yeah.
I'm a Mac guy, and I bought a PC too, and I went through the same thing. I bought a PC for 22, but mine was, I used to game, I used to like racing, but I had to see if this game was good. And I figured if I liked this game and understood where this game's going to be in 2021 and 2022, boy, the irony of that, 2022. It's I'm going to invest into this project. Not that Phantasma and Goaty are one. They're not. You know, Goaty is just a partner. But I figured if this game is that good, that in itself could propel Phantasma.
Yeah.
But Phantasma has got so much more than just, we did our Blood Ruin AMA, and like the guys behind that, like,
amazing.
and the guys behind Goaty, Garth and Brooke, like, just it's
What
fascinating.
they bring to the table is crazy. Yeah.
And then learning, my son's, he does streaming. He works for Goaty, and he does streaming for Goaty, and so he's involved in the 22 community quite a bit. And he shares a lot. I get a lot of my details from him that come from Garth. And what's really cool is the number of Rocket League players. Rocket League is hundreds of thousands.
My son plays that.
Right.
One of the games he plays, but yeah, he was he managed to score himself PS5. So I think one of the local electronics stores had about 25 available for pre-order, and he scored one. So so I said, that's all right, mate. Hopefully next year I'll be able to, once Goaty's got, releases whatever they're going to do, I'll flick you through the license and you'll be good to go. So we'll swap around between the laptop and the PS5 and whatever, wherever the wallet is, we'll just flick it there and so that's pretty cool. So
I said to Graydon a couple of days ago, I said, I think I'm going to write a book one day. I'm going to call it From Flick to Flat: My Journey in Crypto. Because when I first communicated with Bill, he says, I'll go, flick me your email. What the heck? What the heck does, I had to go on Google and flick me your email. What?
Is it an Aussie thing, maybe?
I don't know, but I'd never heard of it before either, right? And sure enough, and so every once in a while, there's 3 or 4 words, that I've gotten a list from that I'm just like, what was that? And I had to go and Google it, working with this international crew. And Graydon a couple of days ago, it's over at my flat. I said, at your flat? Oh, yeah, apartment. Okay.
That's English, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but the Aussies, you guys shorten everything. You said something to me when we were chatting earlier. You said, Aussie rules footy. What the heck is that?
Yeah.
Footy?
Australian, Footy,
Football,
yeah.
Oh yeah, soccer. Okay.
Oh, no, not soccer. No, actually, Australian rules football. It's, how do I describe it for non-Aussies? Maybe, no, not even gridiron without the pads. It's, Gaelic football is probably the closest football code to it. But no, it's... You'd have to actually go down that rabbit hole on YouTube and watch some of the biggest clashes and stuff. It's brutal. And I've grown up. My son, since he was 7, has played, which was fine. And now he's a young man and plays against big blokes. So it's, as a mum, it's
oh yeah,
the crunches are pretty full on. So yeah, but yeah.
Well, we're a hockey family. I know hockey's
that's brutal too.
Yeah, it's a fairly brutal sport. And watching your kid play it, and when your kid gets hit and gets knocked down, and you're just a parent, and you're like, that's half the reason why I coached. So if my kid got hurt, I can run out there.
No, Mum, don't.
Yeah.
I can see the clash happening. I don't watch. I just figure I'll pick it up, and if it needs to be something that we head to the hospital with, then so be it. But I don't want to see it happen. So.
you're a
Yeah.
sports mom, and you've
Mm.
seen your kid, and so I'm sure that it's the same thing over there. You get families and moms and dads that are yellers on the sidelines. Does that go on with you
Oh,
sports?
yeah. And my daughter plays, well, she still does, even as an adult now, netball. But she also used to umpire that, and that was probably harder because, she's umpiring, kids a bit younger than her as a teenager herself, and the abuse that the umpires caught. I mean, every sport's the same, but as a parent of an umpire, I'm ready to knock some blocks off. But yeah, it's all part of it though. It's just they with the culture they do try to rein the parents in and say to the kids they're having fun, but some people are super competitive. So yeah.
Yeah, it's the parents. That's something else. It's really something else. And we obviously haven't played much hockey this year, but even the last tournament I was at, I had I don't want to say the privilege, but it's privileged because it was entertaining and it had to do with two teams that we had nothing to do with, and these two parents, two dads, and you could see them from different sides of the hockey rink, and they came around and they met right where we were. And they're just going at it, and I'm thinking, like, guys, you don't know how dumb you look, and how you're
and
embarrassing.
The kids kids learn from that too. It's learned behaviour, and it's not cool.
Nope. But that's one thing you noticed is, as a coach, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah.
The asshole kids they have asshole parents.
Well, that's it. But then, you can't really blame the kids if that's the environment they're in. So, yeah.
No. But we all make the same face in the shitter, and here we are, part of a global community of crypto individuals, and Phantasma is just bringing together some really, really, really cool people.
Yeah,
and
really interesting cohorts. It's cool. Yeah.
Maybe there's going to be some way that you'll be able to tie in some of your artwork and some of your business to the blockchain and the ability of what we've got coming up.
I mean, with the photography side of things. I mean, thinking of the idea, mint some, maybe go through some of my shots and give them a bit of an edit and mint some of them. So always the creative ideas are always flowing, and this is just another aspect to that. Some another way to get either artwork or music or it's limitless what you can get out there. So and that NFTs are they're gonna be mind blowing, I think. So over the next few years.
Yeah, it's really exciting in the management meetings with some of the guys that are working, building a list of artists that are ready to put some of their work on the Ghost Market, and musicians behind the Soul Challenge that's looking to change the music industry a little bit.
That's been fantastic for them. It really is. Yeah.
And this year's been such a hard year. Well, we were talking about with photography, but musicians even more so.
Yep. No live gigs. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's everyone's had to readjust this year. It's been a bit crazy.
Yeah. Now I wanted to talk a little bit about you've just recently come back, and like, what can I do? What can I do for the community? You wanted to help out, and I think Bill gave you some social media responsibility. And
he flicked through a message.
Share a little bit about that.
Just flicked through a message. Is that flicked? A couple of weeks ago. Just saying, looking to get, up the Facebook, get the Facebook presence. They've got a page, but it had sort of been sitting idle. Would I be interested in, just sort of coming on board and, giving a hand with that. So, and I've got a business page with my little online biz. So I know the back end of the business pages and whatnot. So why not?
Right.
I mean, it comes back to that. I've got a vested interest because I'm invested.
Right.
All this sort of stuff's a no-brainer for me. It's like, what's the point? Saying no is not even an option. It's you're silly if you do. If yeah, you don't just buy something and leave it sit there. You nurture it and help where you can. So yeah, but yeah, so just slowly getting out there, and of course I joined the Zoom meeting last week for the first time. So yeah, it was just sort of, I think I was like a deer in headlights, just taking everything in then. But yeah, sort of coordinating, and when there's news, we pop it out there. Facebook's not massive, I don't think, for crypto stuff, but it's another avenue to get us out there. So happy to be part of it.
Well, that's just it, and I started talking about to the team and whatnot, and in the marketing department, there's this, that needs to be done, this and this and that, and nobody in itself is an expert at anything, but
yeah,
some of these skills that are being brought, and just the little element things that, for example, 22 Racing on TikTok. My son took that initiative and started
perfect.
to it's perfect for the audience and what's going on, and he's 15 years old, and I said, well, that's great, that's on your own, but if you're going to do something, you've got to stick with it for a commitment, and you're not gonna you're not getting paid for this. And he says, well, Dad, I own a lot of Sol. If I could help the game, that means I'm going to make more. And I went, holy shit, okay.
Yeah.
You're getting it, kid.
Proud parent moment right there.
Yeah, right. But, yeah. But I was like, that's it. And that's, that's what people like you and, the Phantom Force and the Writers Lounge, people that are writing and doing something that they're passionate about. They really enjoy it.
Yep.
Feeling a part of a community and being a part of something that is growing. Of course, there's a byproduct of helping to protect your investment, but those first factors are what I'm seeing people get from it. And so, first off, this is a huge public thank you for stepping up. We needed help on our Facebook, and there is an audience out there that will engage with that platform. There are other platforms that we would like some further engagement on. Hint for other community members, and we are an open community like a lot of the crypto projects, and we're not. You've got to be smart and you've got to be good at what you do, but there's opportunities. So I wanted to share that, and before we go, I just also wanted to talk a little bit about liquidity pools over at Uniswap, and. What was it, a month and a half ago, Ethereum swaps were launched. That's, we don't have Cosmic swaps yet available inside the wallet, but Uniswap's really cool. And I didn't use Uniswap prior to to this launch, but I've learned a lot about Uniswap since then. And first off, it's scary because there's a lot of shit and scam coins that are out there. But we're releasing some content, and very shortly we've got a tutorial video for our community about that. That's just getting its final approvals and whatnot. And some of the benefits are great return. Like return on investment is an interesting metric. And my father was an RRSP investor in mutual funds, and a contract work that I just got all my 401k. That's kind of the U.S. government thing to put money in, and looking at the returns and 5% per annum, in 20 years. What? I mean, a Soul Master alone, is giving me 18%.
I mean, our interest rates here, I think we're sitting around. Maybe 1.4, 1.6, depending on and that's a high interest bank account. So, most of and that's, so, I'm like, I'll just buy more Sol because, I'm getting a better return from that than I am from, money in the bank. So, it's, definitely
it is
a good return on investment.
And so with liquidity pools, everybody that's got money into the liquidity pool shares in 0.3% of all transactions. So if there's $100,000 that have, transacted for KCAL or Sol on Uniswap in a 24-hour period, that's $300 in fees that are split among. And right now, liquidity pools are are too small. We need to increase those liquidity pools, and that will just give us greater exposure. And so, when you start to factor in the numbers and the returns on that, people are getting, some of the liquidity pool holders right now are, I think it was like 24% return in the first month that it was like 24. I don't know what the numbers were. I have to confirm it, but it was just like, wow. So check it out, guys. Go to Google, type in Sol and then Uniswap, or KCal and Uniswap. Find the pair and learn about liquidity pools. There's that option as well. And get involved in the community. I mean, it's people like you, Gail, that are
lurkers.
Yeah, I mean, your story is awesome. A single mom, entrepreneurial
I still think I'm
mom.
going to put people to sleep.
Oh. Well, we'll look at the analytics. That will tell the real story. Okay. I can see that we have engagement. Nobody's left us so far. And we have a number called average watch time, and we'll compare that to the other ones, and I bet you're going to be surprised. It's been good, so thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah, really appreciate it. And see Gail around. She's in the Telegram group, and say hi to her on Facebook. So now that we have Facebook Live, guys, please head over there, like it.
Check us a like.
And help.
Smash the likes.
Yeah, help the Facebook algorithm. If there's something I know is algorithms, and engage into that community.
We've got some good percentage. Like, since it's only been a few weeks since relaunching on there, I guess. But I see all the analytics on the side, and where the engagement's up thousands of percent. Obviously, because there was nothing before, but it's promising signs. So it's good.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, we'll say goodbye to everybody. Gail, you stay on the line here.
Yep, we'll do.
And we'll be back next Friday. Maybe sooner. Hopefully, we'll see. Woo. We got some things up our sleeve, but we just can't. It's exciting. All right, folks. That's it for now. So thank you. Bye.